Welcome everybody, another video. This is Professor Andy Lane, who we've just had the massive revelation, cuts his own hair, which I paid for my haircut. Make your own decisions. I think he gets better value, and hopefully the person who cuts my hair isn't watching this video. So thanks for coming over, Andy. So mental health.
I can do yours.
There's money to be made, so this is what you call a portfolio career. Leading sports scientist and also hairdresser. Mental health awareness week, is it right? So in sport then, what are the things that you come across that are key issues for people?
Well, what we have is sport is generally a good thing for mental health. For the vast majority of people, playing sport is good for their mental health. It's something they look forward to. The physical nature of sport allows a massive release of adrenaline, reduction of stress. People's, the massive park runners, the massive cyclists have goals. They're working towards achieving their goals. There's a whole series of health-related benefits that come with that. Really positive. And then there's all the people, the elite sport people, for whom sport is a real stressor. For where the top competition is very cutthroat. Of where your lifestyle is dependent on how much money you can earn, and for almost all of them it's difficult. It's just difficult because they aren't earning millions and they're making complicated decisions. So we've got a dilemma, and that's why you see some big cases previously in the media where top level sports players are talking about their mental health as if in some cases that's not legitimate because they're playing sport. We were like, I would love to play tennis, but the actual lifestyle of an elite performer is that you're in hotels a lot, you're flying a lot. That might sound glamorous, but you're very, very small part of your life is your own. You're moved around a lot. There's very little stability, and it might well be quite a desperate life and quite stressful.
Crikey, so somebody aspiring to be an elite sports person, it's not what they might think it's going to be.
It's just different. I mean, I worked with, take elite boxers. You've got almost none of them are earning any money. You've got the one hand the boxers who turn up and get paid and lose all the time, and there's another level of boxers who are selling tickets. And sometimes and you can do this on a poster of a show, whether it's online or real, you'll see a phone number, and it's the boxer's phone number. It's their mobile, it's their personal mobile. They will be selling you the ticket, and they will be responsible for getting so many tickets. And if they could sell a load of tickets, they're good. The promoters will bring them back. So you're going into a contest and you've got an opponent, but you've also got a whole series of financial worries about how well you're doing. And that you don't really get to see that. But that, if you're a car salesman, it's the same kind of thing. I mean, at the end of the month, well, how many cars have you sold? It's pressure. It's pressure, and it's a side pressure to actually what the main job is all about, or supposedly all about. It's not glory.
Well, there's loads of people. Let's say the mass market sports people are people of middle age who treat cycling or running like as if they want to be that elite sports person, and they make the sacrifices. I don't know if they are sacrifices, really. I think that's a big word in itself, but they make the cuts, let's say, to be that say no David rather than say yes David to an extra cake or going out for the evening and stuff like that. So is that good or is that bad? Bearing in mind these people will never ever make it to the Tour de France or the top three in the Boston Marathon.
I've worked with some clients for whom exercise addiction is completely over the top, for where they're exercising hours a day for not really any real benefits. They're not professional athletes. The quality of the relationships outside of their sport are affected by it and have to be affected by it. They're not getting necessarily much benefit from it because it's the need to exercise is absolutely huge. And so the answer probably is no, that they're not. They may think they're achieving the best they can possible. It would be quite, if they sat down with me, we would then work out what their goals are, what a realistic budget is for training, and within that, a training program that goes, well, are you getting better at the things that you need to get better at to achieve the things that you're going to be good at? And for many people, they kind of overtrain. They do a lot of training, and I think once you get to a point in your life where the kids are no longer so demanding, you've got and so on a little bit, people can find an enormous amount of time to train, and will do so, which will be we'll be training for training's sake. The danger part, or the negative part, is if you expect big performance gains from that, or you place a great deal of satisfaction in what you can achieve from that, and you just don't keep achieving it. And the likelihood is you're going to get injured. Along the road is coming an injury, and along the road that injury is probably going to stop you doing it for some period of time.
So how do you get the balance right then? How do you do sport, exercise, whatever, but you're doing it in a way which is healthy for your mind and also doesn't cause your body to break down?
Yeah, it helps to have. I think it helps to have things to work towards, which you're building up towards, and the concept of building up towards, the building up to do something. Whilst surely you're going to be putting strain on yourself. Is you're very conscious of the strain, and the second bit, which I think is really important, is you're conscious of putting recovery in. And if you put your focus in, well, are you recovered enough for the next session? Are you recovered enough? As you get older, the answer is it takes longer, typically takes longer, and you've got to do more work around that in terms of nutrition and so on and so forth. And therefore you've got to build those breaks in. And so if you get that bit right, you can be functioning really well. But you just run. I mean, people are going well until they break down, aren't they? And they break down all the time. Yeah. Or they are repeating the same performance. Which I think is fine, provided you're not unhappy by that. And the people around you are not. You're not unhappy because the people around you want to get happy are being affected negatively by it. And
it is something else. It's so, obviously you get sent tech through here on quite a regular basis to have a look at, and there's good and there's average, not much bad, but it all comes through. And I often think you can get to that sort of state where you try and buy happiness with your sport, particularly cycling. Running's lovely, isn't it? I just think, well, it's getting that way, but we're all moaning that trainers now are £200, but you're £200 for trainers, but pair of cycling shoes cost you £300 and you can't even walk to the cafe in them. But so in cycling you can spend, but you spend because you're trying to buy speed, or you're trying to buy happiness, or you're trying to buy, you look the most credible person when you pull up at the calf, or whatever. But is there a way of breaking that so people just gain, it's almost like Buddhism, just true happiness from the pursuit itself rather than from the things around it?
Well, yes, there is. You'd have to have a reflection on what you want from this, and you could say, well, we're going for a bike ride on Sunday, and the goal is what? The goal is what? The goal is what? Is it? And you have to be honest. Is it so I look trendy? Is it? Do I have a notion in me that unless my bike's got, I don't know, it's not going to look like Steptoe's horse or whatever, that you're going to be embarrassed by it, and so on and so forth. There must be part of that, because you go to Sportifs and you look around and you go, wow, if you had a lorry here, you'd be able to, well, everyone's in there, there's £5 grand, £5 grand, and then the athlete that gets on that, you go, wow, that they've got a spare amount of money to do so. And not without, where people are shaving off pounds in the bike, they've got the pounds on their bodies. Yeah. And you think, well, actually, they're thinking through as to be as fast as possible, but they're not. The whole model of performance is not well thought through. You have to look at your relationship with what you want from it, and I think that's really difficult. And I think the difficult part is that it's so much of the tech is about, you judge your performances by how fast you went, how long you went, rather than how nice it was, how enjoyable it was. And I think there are secondary parts which people ask you about them, and actually they're the Sunday rise. That's the primary part. Yeah. I think the Sunday ride. It's interesting. I was out for a bike ride a couple of Saturdays ago, and a group of cyclists came by, and of course I jumped on the back. But as they came by, the conversation was to go through, so I couldn't jump on the back. I thought, geez, what's this? So you go, wow. So people are out riding as if they're in little mini races. So if you had to join that group, and you look up and you go, oh, he's got a lighter wheel than me, so I better, and so on, and advantages and so on. You're feeling that good, and you would then look to edge your performance around that. You can see that, but you could also see that why not just do more training if you want to, or train smarter if you want to really focus on that and rest a bit more, so that events where you have to push yourself a bit harder, you've got that a little bit. Because I think if you're going something tired and you're normally riding at 70%, it's going to feel harder than what it would be. And if you're someone who's riding all of the time, everything feels tired the whole time. Your solution to feeling less tired at the same speed is 500 quid, or just have a longer rest. Pick the sessions you want to be fresher in.
Yeah, it's funny, it's funny doing running. I love running because I'm not looking at my watch, I'm not looking at any of the device I've got on or whatever. I can look at it later for whatever analysis I want to make. Usually, I get back not injured. That's my new goal. The new goal: get back uninjured. Don't matter about the time. So you've got that. So, but cycling, handlebars aren't called handlebars anymore. They're now called cockpits. Which in itself says everything, doesn't it? You think there's a whole world.
When have they been called cockpits?
It just snuck in now, and it's just snuck in. I even heard a cycling podcast, which shan't be named, which is an awesome one. But they even said on there, such and such is cockpit on his bike. What? No. So it called the cockpit, and what it is, because they've got so many bloody devices on there, so nobody's looking up anymore and looking around. They're all looking at, all putting out 200 watts or whatever. And you think it's. So that's, we were talking about the arrhythmia earlier, weren't we? Cyclists are spotting arrhythmia because look at the heart rate all the time. Was it there in the general population or not? I don't know, but you got stuff like that. So check your heart rate, folks. But or not. But I think it's does that cause angst in people? Is that unnecessary? Are they missing out on that G factor of seeing the greenery around them and enjoying life a little bit more and spotting birds when they're on a ride or whatever they should be doing?
I think it's dangerous to keep looking at the watch. Firstly, I think if it's a bit like in a car, isn't it? You get all that stuff around you. Actually, none of it matters. You should be looking at the road. Yeah. And the cycling, you should be looking at the potholes. You're looking around you. Your effort. Your effort ratio. You can feel that. You don't need to. Am I trying hard? Oh, look, I've got this number down here. It's not actually that relevant. You should be able to internalise and understand that much better. People are conditioned to it, reinforce it, doesn't it? So you look down, you go, I've got X number of watts. That's good, right? You look down, you don't get to think, oh, that's not good. I'll try harder. Well, actually, what was the gap between you? Why, is it try harder, be smarter? I don't know, but why? If you ride the bike an enormous amount, you get that feel for it. Anyway, the cyclists in the 70s didn't have all that tech, and they got a feel for the bike. When I've worked with cyclists, they'll say, I've now got a feel for the bike, and they still do so when they've been riding an enormous amount. And so maybe that's the real feel comes from that real connection with your bike, having done a lot of it, which you gets intercepted by you breaking that all the time by having it reinforced by your tech. I can see the tech can be quite good. It's good people learn from feedback. That's absolutely true. I think there's some nice bits around the feedback you get from watt bikes, for example, which says one leg's pushing harder than the other. So you also didn't realise that. We see, and you look, you see, I've got this massive one leg. No, but. So there can be some bits of tech where if you're looking to change your skill, then that is something to look at to do so. But unless you've got the goal to I want to change my skill, having the information there is not necessarily useful or not. I think people could learn to use it more sparingly, or learn to use it more precisely so they can get something out of it.
So top 3 tips then for mental health in sport, what would you distill those down to?
Well, top 3 tip would be to be really clear on what your goals are. Really clear on what. So as you leave for each session, what do you want to get out of it, and and really be honest with yourself and have some discussion. Because if you are, it has to be an X amount of time. People say, I want to go for an easy run, and they come back and say, and I did so many minute miles. I'll say, well, hold on. Easy run should be designed, but it should be described by I was really relaxed. Not the minute miles doesn't matter. There may be a product of being really relaxed, but actually you said you wanted to be easy. It should be easy. If it's and some runs, I'm going to make them really enjoyable. Well, don't come back from a run which is enjoyable and describe it in minute miles. Describe it by how much enjoyment you got from it, which could be done by any way. I kind of like those ones. And you pick somewhere nice to go for a run. If you want to go for a really hard session, fine. So you go for a really hard session. Go and do your really hard session. Set yourself, what I'm going to do is going to learn to push myself. And I'm just going to be specific around whatever that is and set it up and judge it by that. But you're clear in what you're going out to be at the start. I say the second one would be about focusing on relaxation and recovery in between sessions, so that you package up enough rest, enough sleep, good nutrition, and focusing on certain parts, taking it easy, about having movement. Not every movement has to be hard and judged. And what the third one would be?
Enjoy good food, I would say.
I'd say, well, food is such a big thing, isn't it? That people are so heavily regulated by food. I think people lose their relationship with food to know what to eat. I think that's a massive, great problem as well.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm.